Hi everyone, I'm Susan Rowe Harrison, and I'm so excited to participate in this series of virtual artist programs for Eco-Urgency Artists Make the Case at Wave Hill. I'll be sharing the Juhring, my local nature preserve, with you. For the past 5 years, I've lived in Dobb's Ferry, a village along the Hudson River in Westchester, about a 35-minute Metro North train ride from the city. The Juhring Estate, or the Juhring as most locals call it, was named for its original owner, John C. Juhring, a landscape architect who bought the property in 1909. The land changed hands until it was sold to developers who wanted to build housing in the 60s. Local residents protested the development and won. The 75-acre parcel was purchased through federal and state grants with the stipulation that it remain open space. Dobbs Ferry Boy Scout Troop 24 created all the trails. I do my best thinking when I'm moving. Having a nature park close by has really helped me stay sane, especially during the dual pandemic of COVID-19 and racism. Looking and noticing takes me away from my thoughts and worries. Walking in nature provides an opportunity to make sense of the world as I move through it. Parks are nice, but I love how wild the Juhring is. It is a rewilding. For the most part, every tree that falls is left in its place. Sometimes they just cut the walking path through a fallen tree. The biodiversity is left to its own devices. There's little grooming or maintenance, which can leave invasive species, but we are present. Off-leash dogs and people go off-path to move things around. The growing deer population without predators munch much of the lower growing plants. There is a poignancy to the birth and death of the forest. The trees die, rot, become habitats, feed the soil, clean the air, do their work. I get lost on the trails and discover new sculptures, lines, colors, textures, plants, and find different animals and sounds that change with the seasons, with droughts and rain, snow, wind. I find it peaceful and healing. Leave it better than you found it. It's free and open from dawn to dusk every day. I'm glad that you're here to join me on this walk, and I will try to let you listen and observe the Juhring through my eyes. I hope you will visit on your own and think about how we live in nature. I want to get away from the idea that there is the environment and us. We are our environment. It is not separate from us. We live in it, alter it, and are stewards of it. Okay, let's go on a walk. They cut the path through a fallen tree. Finding lichens in the forest means the air quality is healthy enough for them to grow, so it's actually a good thing when you find them. I love the muted colors of the lichens. So I stopped when I saw this plant because I thought it was so interesting looking. And when I looked it up, I discovered that it is a shrub called wineberry. It's pretty common in New York State and it's related to the raspberry, but it's not good for wildlife habitat, and it also takes over native plants. So as interesting as it is to look at, it's not great for the forest. I often find inspiration in the colors that you see in nature. And I stopped when I saw the moss on this log. I love the green and brown on the kind of blue-gray log. So, living trees with decay are super useful for habitat in forest. And in fact, they're so useful that researchers are trying to find new ways to encourage decay in trees in managed forests because they're not as old as in undisturbed forests. So, walking through the forest, you can see all the fallen trees that are just left where they fall. And I think it's so beautiful the way that on the root span of a tree that's fallen, moss and other plant life will just grow in the dirt at the base of a tree. It's kind of like the cycle of life that you can see in the forest. So I stopped when I saw this fallen tree because for me it looks like a drawing. If I put that on paper, I might just take away a few of the lines and to me it's just an amazing thing to see. This is another one, the vines kind of turn into heart shapes and are so alive. It's one of the things I love about walking in the Juhring. These vines are so cool and twisted and kind of magical. But I think they're probably an invasive species, and that's why they're cut off on the ends. I think it's the easiest way to control them and to keep them from strangling the trees. But they are so sculptural and so cool looking. They're all throughout and kind of like twist through the forest. So at least they're somehow controlled, but they're left for us to enjoy. Here's more of those kind of crazy twisting vines, but when I walked by this one, I thought that's a sculpture. Just so amazing, and I would love to sit down and draw that. Even the way the kind of sculptural part, the line of that speaks to the line of the vines, like it's a total visual geek out. So I stopped at these leaves because I thought the pattern was so amazing. It was like a really organic drawing. And then I came home and looked it up and discovered it's a kind of larva called a leaf miner. And they kind of dig troughs in the leaves and destroy the plants. So once again, the things that I find so beautiful are in a way kind of destroying some of the plants in the forest. In this tree, I saw a really energetic line drawing.
I love how the light peeks through the trees to create shadows of the leaves and dapple the path. It's always a balance between the visual and the science when I take a walk. Um, but it's a really wonderful place, and I hope you'll visit.